my crown, cause from birth I've been royal, and that's from the soil. Yo, two strong-minded individuals. What happened when y'all both
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Original Intelligence, where we share truth that sets us free. I am Atpeace, Makita, your host for this episode. Thank you so much for joining. Today, let's get into the foundational principle of original intelligence. And it's really important that when we have these conversations, when you come on this platform, that you understand that this is not your regular schmegular conversation. You clicked on the link, or you chose to show up for the live, or you're here for the podcast because you are ready to be your most authentic self. You are ready to stop living and telling the lie, and you are ready to fully live in your truth. And that's not easy, but it is doable. And in today's society, it's actually quite necessary for survival. It is paramount that we learn to detach and decode societal norms and what things mean and the symbolism of things, because that's the true language of your soul. The things that you see in your eye, in your two eyes, the matrix, that's an interpretation, that's a perception. That is not the full story. And just like there's duality in life in general, you have left, you have right. You have up, you have down. You have in, you have out. You have wet, you have dry. You have cold and warm. You see? So there's variations and dualities throughout life in general, throughout this human existence. And that also is true for our sight and what we see with our vision. Sight and vision are similar, but they are not the same. And so we'll get more off into the duality of things. But for this first episode, this is our first episode. Welcome. Yeah. In this episode, we are going to explore the foundational principle of original intelligence. And rather than me telling you what original intelligence means or what I mean by using the title or anything like that, I'm just going to set you up in a way that you can figure it out for yourself. I've been teaching for over 20 years. I teach from infancy all the way to Ivy League University. I've been teaching for a long time, a lot of different people, a lot of different backgrounds, age groups, and everything. And I also have children, of my own that I've raised into adulthood. And so I can honestly say that I have a knack for setting you up to figure it out for yourself. Like, that's really big for me, is for you to use your own intelligence, for you to think for yourself, because that is truly what makes this world a beautiful place. Not everyone being cookie cutter, not everyone following the same drum. That is a hypnosis. And hypnosis is important. But it's time that you hypnotize yourself. It's time that you get hypnotized with the call and the beating of your own drum. So, what is the foundational principle of original intelligence? And that foundational principle is the principle and the understanding, the principle meaning it's not going to change. Like, this is what it is. This is the principle matter. Okay? The principle matter is that darkness and light are one. And as soon as you are able to really grasp that understanding, to really wrap your brain and, around that understanding, then the world itself is going to show up differently for you. It's going to look different. Things that seemed complicated or serious or overly important, or you had all of this you put all of this emphasis on it, once you really embrace that literally all is one, like all is one, WON, and all is one, ONE. All is one. And what does that mean? That means that once you understand that, once you realize the balance of duality, you will understand yourself so much better. And the self-criticisms, the self-judgment, the self-loathing that a lot of people suffer from, that will begin to dissolve itself. And you won't have to fight the good fight to try to heal yourself and figure yourself out and do it. It'll begin to dissolve. So what do I mean when I say that darkness and light are the same? Really contemplate that for yourself. What does it mean to you? What struck up in you when I said that? Light and dark are the same. Did you immediately reject it? Did you already know that that exists? Or did it pique some type of curiosity in you? So take a moment, tap in with yourself. And is it possible? Is it possible that dark and light are the same? And if they are the same, what does this mean? What meaning is that if they're both the same, dark and light? And so we all are very familiar with the preachings and teachings of light workers, the light. Jesus is the light, coming out of darkness into light, and how light is considered comfort. It's considered love. It's considered the answer. It's considered salvation, the light. It's considered warmth. And I want you, hopefully you brought a pen and paper because we're always here to study and learn. So if you make note of this, contemplate on it. Is that true? Is light all of these things? Or is that something that we have been, trained to think? Or is that our own experience? Is that your own experience with light, that it is all of these things? And how does that threaten, or how is your idea of light threatened by the idea that darkness is equal to it? That darkness is the same, that they both, light and dark, came from the same source. How does that make you feel? Where did your mind go then? What do you feel in your body hearing that, contemplating that? Is it possible that that's true? Or is it completely erroneous? Really think about that. Because what is darkness? Darkness for most people is considered to be what? Evil, bad, the opposite of love, the opposite of light, scary, fear, dangerous. I think I said bad, right? So it's negative. And we can even use this analogy for a negative and positive. They are the same. It's not one over the other, or one better than the other or less than the other. They are the same. And what do I mean when I say they are the same? I simply mean that there can be no light without darkness. It is not physically, according to the law of physics, science, just reality of the matrix. There can be no light without dark, right? And essentially, there can be no dark. Well, actually, there can be dark without light, but there can be no light without dark. Everything, ourselves, our children, if you have children, the world itself, the planet itself, depending on who you ask, we're not going to have that conversation. But just overall, we cannot deny all the things that come from darkness. A baby sits in darkness. You sat in darkness for 9, 10 months waiting to come to this realm. When you close your eyes, there is darkness. The sun will shine all day and then it will go dark wherever you are on the planet. Light and dark are the same. And everything you see in the light, that means what? It came from the darkness. It came from dark. So if you really want to think about it, and you can even put it in these terms if it'll help you, light is the birth of dark. Dark births light. And before you think I'm all crazy and all woo-woo and I didn't make this up. I'm just the messenger, honey. You can go do your own research, go down your own rabbit holes, do your own thing. I'm sharing with you over 30 years of spiritual knowledge, research, study, and actual application. So I'm not here to prove anything to anyone. I'm just here to remind you of who you are. I'm just here to create sacred space, a safe, sacred space, so that you can return to the truth of who you are. The original truth of who you are. And once the duality of darkness and light, evil and good, up and down, love and fear, when all of these dualities are brought into alignment with the truth of what they are, you can't help but see life differently. You can't help but question your reality so that it can grow, so that it can change, so that it can expand and get better. So do your own research, go down your own rabbit hole, okay? Now, the other thing that I want to bring up or share with you all is, what do we do about the biggest elephant in the room when it comes to the word dark or darkness? What's the feeling or the sensation that comes over you just thinking about the dark? Just hearing the word dark, just closing your eyes and seeing dark, just walking into a dark room. What feelings and emotions come over you? Write it down. Think about the stories that you've been told throughout your childhood about the darkness and being afraid of the dark. How many of us as children were afraid of the dark? It is a natural fear, and it's okay. I'm not here to judge you, but I am here to elevate you and to expand your consciousness a bit. Because now that we're older, a lot of us, we realize that dark or darkness is just part of the package. It's just comes with it, right? And so I just want to share with you a few things that you can do to overcome any fears that you may have associated with dark or darkness. Because until you are able to truly transform your fear into faith, transform your fear into awareness, transform your fear into the fuel that it's meant to be used for, until you're able to do that, you're going to stay stuck in a hypnosis that is destroying you. You're going to stay enslaved and imprisoned and unable to live in your truth and be set free. And I personally don't want that for anyone. So I'm going to share with you just a few things that you can do right now today to overcome your fear of darkness, to really understand the concept that there is no separation. Dark and light both came from our emanations of the Most High. They are the emanations of God. And so fearing it is not going to help you. And as long as I know that, oh, you have a fear of the dark, and if I'm a person that wants to control you somehow, I'm going to throw you into the darkness every chance I get. Because I know that's going to kick up the fear, which is going to hijack your nervous system, which is going to increase your heart rate and your blood pressure, which is going to cloud and confuse your consciousness and your ability to think. And then I got you exactly where I want you. Isn't that great? There are people out here living that life. So if you don't want to be one of those people whose nervous system gets hijacked just from the thought of there being darkness and no light, just from the memories and the triggers of childhood or upbringing of the darkness and what that meant and what could be possibly in the dark, and allowing your imagination to go there, if you're not able to truly face that and overcome that, then yes, I'm sorry, but you are going to stay enslaved. You are going to stay in a situation, or you're going to be easily manipulated. Easier than most. So here are some things that you can do right now today to overcome this and really tap into your original intelligence, okay? So the first thing that you can do is just practice sitting with your eyes closed. And believe it or not, this is extremely uncomfortable for some people. They have trust issues, they have traumas, they have things going on mentally where it's really hard for them to just sit with their eyes closed. But the truth of the matter is, if you really want to listen and know God for yourself within you, you have to do what? You have to be still. Be still and know I am God. So, sitting with your eyes closed, just try it for 10 seconds. Then when you feel comfortable, try it for 30 seconds. Then when you feel more comfortable, try it for a minute, try it for 2 minutes. Like, that's how you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to rock that baby on in there. You're not going to be able to just jump in. Maybe some of you can, but for the most part, if darkness is a true fear for you, an in-depth fear for you, then you need to just take your time. And that's with anything you're doing new. Take your time. There's no rush. Okay? Another thing that you can do is you can sit in a closet, in a dark closet, or sit in a dark room. And sit in it as long as you can until you can't take the discomfort anymore, and then leave. And then later return. Face it again. As long as you can, then leave. Return. Face it again. As long as you can, then leave. Does that make sense? Because the only way to overcome fear is to what? If you know the answer to that, write it down. If you can, put it in the chat. Okay? What is the number one, or really the only way, to overcome fear? And I'll tell you at the end of the video. All right. So you're going to sit in the dark room, sit in the closet as long as you can, until either you can stay there until the discomfort passes, or you can stay there until the discomfort is so uncomfortable that you have to leave. Either way, give yourself grace and allow yourself time to sit there in the darkness. Okay? Another thing you can do is, I want you to, if you're not ready to go completely in the dark, which is completely understandable, then you can take your time and you can gradually go into it even more. And just at night, turn the lights off in your house and just light candles and do everything by candlelight. Because there's still enough overwhelming darkness around you that it will it will do the trick, and it'll gradually get you there, right? So turn off all the lights, put candles in all of the rooms, and just live by candlelight in the darkness at night and see how that works for you. Okay? Or you can just dim the lights. Okay? And so I'm trusting that this information helps you to answer that question about the only way to overcome a fear. The only way to overcome your fears is by facing them. That's the only way to communicate with fear. That's the only way to resolve fear. That's the only way to, move fear along, is to face it. The more that you run from it, the more that you hide from it, the more that you avoid it, whatever you're afraid of, it's not going to go anywhere. And you don't have to, face it and fight it. Just face it. You'll be amazed at how far you can go just by being willing to look at it, by being willing to go into the darkness of it, by being willing to accept that it happened or that it is. So I thank you all so much for listening. I really appreciate each and every person that this podcast and this episode reaches. And I trust that there's something that was shared today that will and is setting you free. Till the next episode, thanks again. I am your host, Atpeace Makita, and I will hopefully be with you again in the next episode. Thanks so much for listening. Peace and love. Thank you again for listening to Original Intelligence. I am Atpeace Makita, and I look forward to sharing with you in the next episode. Take care.